Stream on. Blech. Stream on. Let's do it. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Music. Here we go. Whoa. It's a little insane. I'm going to try this out. See if it gets flagged. It's probably a little intense given that it's not coming through Spotify. Well, it's worth listening to anyway. Maybe I can turn it down just a tad. Oh, I don't know if I can. Where's the volume? That's funny. I don't see a volume adjust on SoundCloud. Let me plug this guy's music because it's awesome. Worth checking out. The second narrator, Jeremiah's son. I like it. I like the orchestral stuff when it's done well, and it's done really well. I think it might be too loud here. Let me see if I can just find it on Spotify. Here we go. It says this is abridged, but alright, yeah. We're off to a new adventure today. This is possibly good music for the new one we're doing. Okay, so to recap, we have triumphed. Well, triumph is perhaps elusive, but the completed and submitting for completion is the finished version. Turn these off. You can see it's all done. I'm very happy with it. Very challenging. I'll post it today. We'll see if anybody loves it. If you see it out in the wild, please love it. No, but on. Alright, so what the hell am I going to do for this one? Not sure. One thing what should I do? Riveting to watch this. It must be. Some things that could be good is here's why I'm lost is because I don't want to do the same what I've been defaulting to for the past whatever 10 or so of these is like a ambient blue light that's right behind the camera, And then, you know, I guess I don't know what it would be. A warm key light direct or whatever. It could be, what if it was something different? I'll try. I was a little inspired by the power of bounced light on the one we just did. And I think that is probably worth chasing after. It may require adjusting. So what could happen, essentially, is the sun could, you know, be coming from any number of directions. We don't have to see the sun. But if the sky is bright enough, it's interesting. I don't know if the sun... Let's look at the... Let's look at the rough sketch. It may hold clues. So in the sketch, it's pretty clear that it's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure the sketch is going to give us the answer. The sketch is driving a lot of the composition. The composition looks balanced here in the sketch, but it's making more of a focal point of the top of Death Mountain than I think I care about. Since there's nothing really at the top of Death Mountain, it's just sort of like a mountaintop. I mean, it's like a volcano, but it's not more important than Link. What I think makes sense to do there might be some adjustments to come. I think this is giving a good example. Essentially, we can treat the top of the mountain like it's the light source. We don't have to necessarily see the sun. It'll be interesting to play with it. I wonder. This one's going to be tricky, very tricky. But I think essentially there can be brightness and then light and then a lot of bounced light. That could make things interesting. And I guess what can happen, I'm not going to just make it the default or whatever, but the maybe what can happen is there is a there can be like some, because I like having some, it feels okay to me that there might be a little bit of sort of blue light that links back. So it's sort of coming from this direction. And then in this direction, for whatever reason, blue light is not coming from that direction. Maybe the sun is just mostly here. Or up here. Light comes down, hits, bounces, hits Link. Blue sky hits from behind a little bit. He is outside. Something like that would probably happen. And if I don't have something to contrast with the warm light, it'll be a little too monotone, which is not my intention. And I like the idea of a little bit of that light, the soft blue light. It's like it's kind. It's like niceness and healthy. Link's outfit here looks really cool. I'm glad that does. Okay, well, let's dig in. I might try a different brush. Why not see if I can learn something? I know these are good brushes, so I'm not going to learn that, but I haven't tried them yet in this application. Essentially because the light is coming essentially from the side. This brush, which has a nice gradient effect, will be helpful. Alright, so start with the tunic. Just do our little formula. Because it's minimal. The effect of this light is going to be minimal. Me attempting to figure out a It's weird. Over here, there's a dead spot on my screen. You can see it like jumps. There's a whole strip that is sort of dead. And if I was a right-handed person, that would be, that would kind of be like a non-starter. I would have had to, would have had to have returned it. A huge manufacturing defect. But because I'm left-handed, I barely notice it at all. It had no bearing on whether or not I would return the device. This brush and the one I mainly use are actually variants of the same brush. It's just one of them has a gradient to the application and the other doesn't. Because this one has a gradient, it can have, it can feel like it has a softer application. For the most part, I want the top planes more or less hit and illuminated by the sun, so we're going to leave that stuff out. Maybe there can be... I'm so bad. I'm so bad. Maybe there can be some... there can be some light coming from the behind the camera. I'm so bad. But there's going to be direct sun on this one. What's going on here? How come that feels struggly? It's almost kind of a different feels weird. Is it the pen? Yeah, it's so funny. The difference in feel of application from one pen to the next is enormous sometimes. And for me, it's often, I mean, it's taken me a while to admit this, but now that I'm okay admitting it, it's comfortable saying it may be easier to just buy a variety of different Wacom pens, because the technology in them is varied. Like, one from 15 years ago is different technology than one that came out yesterday. So you can get different results. Let's try it. I just want to make sure that light coming from this direction does not feel blue. So I'll be protective against that. All right. Let's do his little undergarment. Adding a little bit of light overall, and then blue. Maybe just a tiny bit right there. Let's try his boots. And these other little leather bits. Same deal. Adding a little bit of light overall, and then blue. what'll happen is once the dominant like sunlight and the bounce light, those actually bright light sources, like we can, because it's such a dark image, we can see the effect that this very limited blue light is adding. But when we do add the at the warm light of the sun and the bounce light, that'll mostly obliterate our our conscious perception of what's happening here. We won't really see. It'll feel like all this is in shadow, and it will be, but the shadow will have color and depth because it's lit. It's interesting to think that there's shadow that's actually shadow, and then there's shadow where it's just, that's where, like, not where most of the light is hitting. But when we do it this way, it'll feel like the light is reacting in a real way. And that'll help us. Right? There we go. A little bit of light overall, and then some extra blue. And I don't know why I felt it necessary to give Link a rope. I mean, I think it makes sense because he's scaling a mountain, so it's like a story prop. I don't think a rope is like a cannon. It's not like an item in the games, typically, that I can remember. Maybe it should be, but it isn't really. Alright, very little of Link's face. We'll probably be affected by this, but let's do it anyway. And in about 30 minutes, I will close it out, and I'll make a post of the other one, the manhandler. Okay, so Link, we add light overall, and then some extra blue. Even his tiny little teeth. Are gonna reflect some blue light. Let's do a quick save. Even on Link's hair. A little bit of blue light. Let's do sword now. That's the color. Adding light overall plus blue. Shots like this is why I had to, or maybe I should say shots like this are why I had to essentially commit to the pant situation. Otherwise we'd be looking right up his skirt. Swords are always tricky. But for now, hey, good morning. I'm only on for a little bit longer. The day is about to begin, and I have to make my kids breakfast and stuff. You know, they always need to eat. It's going well. I got up at 2 a.m. and couldn't sleep after that, and I was just scrolling on my phone for like 2 hours, and I was like, oh, I should just get up and stream. Like, no point in just sitting here staring at nothing, right? But I did what you suggested. I put last night or yesterday when we were done. Okay, I found something I needed to tweak. So I fixed it. That was off stream. It was just small. It was some of the dino damage. It was not dino damage, but some of the cut and slash marks on the manhandla. That layer was turned off for errantly. So I turned it back on so we could see that, and then saved it out. So it's done now. But then I did what you said, and I sent it to my phone so I could look at it on a phone at 50% brightness. and it still looked good. So I was pleased about that. And it was so I'm excited to post it. Also, I joined DeviantArt, so I've succumbed to peer pressure, and I think a lot of my initial criticisms still stand. But I am trying to sort of meet and network with more artists and be less of a artistic hermit. So it feels like because I can post stuff to Instagram and Reddit and get audience reactions and stuff like that, but that isn't necessarily reactions of you've been doing what I suggested literally nonstop since you closed stream. Lol, I'm a bit loopy. That's I mean, when you've got that all right, well, I'm proud of you. The momentum, the flow, that's where you're like hyper focused on it. That's the zone. Yeah, so good on you. When you do feel that it is time to crash, do so, and then like put it away for a while. Come back to it with some fresh hours. For the first 4 hours, I tried to make the pose work without changing the arms. Okay, how did everything go? I fear I may have said too much. You know, I looked at what you did, and you entered the acceptance phase. I looked at what you did, and like this morning, like it was still up on my computer. I was like, oh, this looks great. I don't know why I said anything. It wasn't like it. Maybe I was just hyper focused on the thing. Anyway, it you know. Yeah, show me what it looks like. Show me what it looks like. I certainly won't be entering a 15-minute draw over session. So no matter what it looks, I'm gonna heap praise on it. And then, but I like this here. Like, I need to prove that I'm doing stuff. I admittedly used your pose along with me reposing myself in a video to get some shots. It's, you know, I don't invent poses. I mean, I invent them, you know, as needed, but not. I didn't invent the idea of the things that I was suggesting. But it's great that you were inspired to apply. In the past, this is around like 2011, 2010. But I had worked on some comic book projects that were the figurative invention and drawing and rendering that was required for it. It was beyond my skill level, and like I could do basic figure and posing and drawing and invention, but not something at the fidelity that I wanted. And so I definitely and it was a complicated scene that needed choreography almost. So I ended up taking photos of myself and my wife separately, because there was a female character. And it sounds lewd, but it wasn't. It was an action scene, but it was helpful for me to have a reference to, you know, see what was going to work. And you know, you do what you got to do. You can post it now if you want to, or I'll probably be streaming later. I don't see why I wouldn't. Today I have to get my blood drawn to do some blood testing, just because I have super high cholesterol, and it's genetic, so it's nothing that I'm shocked or embarrassed about. But I've been on medication for it, and so we will. The doctor is curious to see if it's lowered my cholesterol up much after a year. As a result of that, I have to be fasting today, this morning, so this is a fun distraction, but in a minute I have to make food for my kids, and then it's like I must resist the temptation to eat their snacks. It'll go fine. I'm not worried. It's certainly no shock to deal with the reality. I mean, I'm proud of myself for attempting to remember. I'm realizing over the years that it's just been like, okay, I clearly, you know, it's not just the cholesterol. I have to talk to the doctors about lots of stuff about, you know, like my mental health and stuff. Not that I'm like going crazy or depressed or anything. It's just I could use help dealing with my inability to notice or take seriously things that are not good. If I ignore, like, as I'm getting older, like, here's a reality, is I can't even remember to take my cholesterol medication. So that's one issue, is, you know, this stuff is supposed to help me in my health, and I can't even remember to take it because my brain is not organized in a way that advocates for its own self-preservation. And that's to put it mildly. So it's like, yes, this is important to me, yet I still can't do that. How do I help myself? Yeah, I think like creative people are, there should just sort of be like, oh, you're an artist, then you're probably ADHD and you need help. I don't feel like I'm hyperactive. I think I'm inhibited. I think I have a lot of anxieties too. It's really hard to see the doctor, and yeah, and I'm like, well, I have kids, I have all these other things, and I'm like, everything about, yeah, it does. Yeah, I agree. What's funny is, like, creating the art feels like the emergency. That feels like it's life and death. And then, like, the whole, like, my body needs help and my mind needs help, like, that feels like it's like, oh, that's just like a stupid side hobby. And, you know, and maybe you don't, maybe it's not just artists that feel this way, but I see these, what's happening is, like, I'm older now. I see in my son and in my parents, I have more perspective on things. I see it in them. Yeah, it's weird. But it's like, this is more interest. It's like the art is more interesting, and then, you know, because we get to be in control, and this other thing we're not in control of, and it just gives us anxiety, so we just avoid it, right? I don't know. But it was frustrating for me too, because I was like, I did get like a mental health, and it was sort of, they call it behavioral health, which makes it sound much better. And I appreciate stuff like that, because, you know, I grew up when ADHD was more stigmatized, frankly. So that had at least a part to do with why I was sort of in repudiation of it. But but now I'm like, I don't care, if because I'm like, I'm you know, I'm constantly you know, seeking chemical help, chemical abuse to help me with my anxiety and doing stuff. So I might as well get the real stuff. Anyway, it was just funny. She gave me this. She's like, okay, you have to call these people to set up like a mental health evaluation and stuff like that. And I'm like, that alone is like impossible for me to do, because I have like anxiety about picking up the phone and calling medical stuff, and she's like, I know it's hard, it's not fair, and it's impossible, but, you know, it's the way the system works. And I'm like, I didn't get in any kind of argument with my doctor about it, but it was frustrating to be like, how do you, like, I get that they just don't say, hey, everybody come on in and get your mental health drugs, but but on the other side, it's like any kind of impediment to getting that help just feels like an impossible, it's like climbing Death Mountain, right? This is like the appropriate analogy here. But we have to face it, I guess. I mean, it's like we don't have to. And the other thing for me is, like, I'm 42. I've been dealing for a long time just fine, where it feels like fine, except now it's like, if I forget something now and it like affects my kids, and, like, that's not good. Like, I can get distracted and forget that, like, holy shit, I forgot to pick up my kid at school or something. It's happened like once. Got to get the primary doc, then recommendation psychologist, and finally psych. I made it to primary and then fell off. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. Is like, I am able to. I think the Yeah. Your dog and like when the kids are here, or when my kids are here, they'll let me know when they need something for sure. But like, it's difficult for me to like, now I'm responsible for many people's coordinations and schedules, and it's only going to get worse, you know, over time with my parents and stuff. So I'm like, okay. But like, I'll do like the other day I was in my car and I was like, where the fuck did all this trash come from? And I just realized it was like, I don't know. Like, if you look behind me in my studio, it's just piles of shit. And it's not shit, but it's like unfinished projects that like I can't make time for. Like I have to do this instead. But anyway, and then when I do it, I do it all at once, and I, you know, sort it out, and it's nice and clean. But then I blink, and it's just fucking full again. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I do know what's going on. I need to advocate more for myself. I think that's the hardest part. It's just making myself more important, right? All right. If you wanted me to see the thing, you got to post it now. Otherwise, I'm going to give it the old sign off, because I don't know if I'm going to do too much more on this. Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Here, I'll click it. You all know I like to live dangerously. All right, let's see here. Pull this over here. Okay, I can see you adjusted it. I love it. I have nothing but heaps of praise. I appreciate you retooling it a little bit. I think if I would say anything, I feel like her shoulders are a little high. Maybe elongate the neck is all I would really say. Because she just feels like it's a little hunched up here. If height is a factor, like she can't be that high, yeah, I would just say elongate the neck. I can tell you were just warping a lot of stuff with this. Honestly, this feels great. Maybe get this foot just a little bit further down, but I really appreciate the way you like committed to making sure that it was looking like more in the background. The way you faded out the leg too, to make it have less contrast. Like this really feels like it's coming forward. Like it really does. And that feels really good. It's good. I like the believe it or not, it's okay for this arm to feel like it's like, make sure it feels like this arm is behind this leg, not like way behind, but like making what it's great that right now it feels like there's this curve of attention where it's like this is the dominant. Even this hand on the hip is interesting. Not necessarily the hidden elbow or anything like that, but like making a line that is interesting. This is good. You know what I mean? And then everything else can be secondary, but like the line and the flow, and then, you know, finding some sort of like highlight here that makes it look awesome. It can be subtle, but maybe experiment with like the angle of this I did the arrow with the braid too, like it popping back to camera. I like the I like what you did there. Like it feels like it's got some action. When you do the neck, you get the elongation of the neck. Think about things that can relate, like don't necessarily do this exactly like I'm about to describe, but like finding ways of making this sort of angle match like the angle of the neck, or like the angle of the braid or the hair sort of falling. you know, and if this adjusts, maybe adjust that other stuff. But that could just think about stuff like that. Like, don't make it the most important thing, but like, you know, if you're like, okay, this is working, what else can work? And it's sort of, people don't necessarily notice that stuff, but when you put it in, it makes them like it, and they won't know why. Yeah, when you're choosing angles, it can feel like they're being done at random, and they can be at random, but what if they were organized? People will respond to that and say, oh, it's like, yeah, and they'll be like, oh, it looks so natural, when in reality it's completely contrived and stuff like that. So I was finding those little opportunities. All right, well done. Thank you for. It's nice. We get to play director. I'm like, here's some notes for you. Here, take my notes. Yes, you do it. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna do a quick thumbnail. Thanks for sharing. Let's see here. Oop. Make this big again. The thing here. Here we go. So Wild, you got that in 10 minutes on your sketch. Haha, thanks a ton. I'm really good. Oh, yeah, I think, I mean, at this point, just because I know to look for that stuff, I'm constantly fixing my own drawings. You know what I mean? And over the years, I just have this process. I'm like, okay, and it's always like, I forget to do one of those things. And then when I go back and I fix it, and I keep those things in mind, like the heuristics, the rules of thumb, it's like, boom, boom, boom. And it just flows. It's like, well, this always looks good. It always works. And then when you realize it always works, you go out and you're like, oh, here's Michelangelo's David. It's doing the exact same thing. It's like posing, and you don't even notice it. It's like, oh, it's like, just looks like perfect art of like something that is amazing. But when you look for it, you see those frameworks are there. All right, let's see here. Just zoom in on this a bit. Oh, I got to do my 50-50. All right, I'm going to post the Manhandla. Just do something silly like that. But I'm going to post it on social media, so if you see it out there, you got to like it. Click the like. All right. And that'll be it. All right. Thanks so much. I'm going to say adios. Adios.